G'day, welcome back to the channel. Another talking head video, but this is kind of important. I want to do a bit of a roundup. Been getting a lot of emails on certain subjects. I want to let people know that I am aware of what's going on. But first of all, remote ID, isn't it? It's the gift that keeps on giving. Now, I've done a few videos on remote ID in the USA, but I know people in the UK have smugly stood aside and said, we don't have remote ID. Well, I'm sorry, but you don't have remote ID yet. And other people have said, why are you, someone who lives in New Zealand, half a world away from the USA, concerned about remote ID in the USA? Well, here is the reason, because once the US adopts something, the rest of the world falls into line and follows. Started with registration, started with simple tests to make sure you have a knowledge of how to fly your drone and so forth. Those things started in the US and now they've spread around the world. And look, here we go. Remote ID. It says, this is the Daily Mail. Now, you've got to believe it if it's in the Daily Mail. They would not lie. But also there's a report in the Telegraph, but it's behind a paywall. So I'm using this one. It says, tackling the Wild West in the sky. Drones could soon be forced to have electronic number plates so they can be tracked by police as they fly through the sky. Well, where else are they going to fly apart from through the skies? You can't fly through brick walls. Goodness knows I've tried. It's a complete fail. But yeah, it says drones being used in the UK will need to have remote ID technology soon, although they're saying not for another 3 years or so. Yeah, this is so they can be tracked by police. Well, why do police need to track my freestyle drone flying in my own backyard? I don't think they do, but this is what we're being told. And so the move is part of regulations being drawn up by the government, that's the UK government, that would allow a drone's speed, height, takeoff point and its operator's location to be tracked. So the same flaw that the US standard remote ID has, tracking the operator location, is being proposed perhaps for the UK. Yeah, this is a worry. It comes amid growing concern that Britain's drone registration scheme is not being enforced properly, and that aircraft could be used by terrorists to cause serious harm or economic damage. Well, this scaremongering's been going on for over 10 years. Have we seen any actual results of this? No, we haven't. It's just scaremongering, fearmongering by the media. And the drone registration scheme's not being enforced properly. Well, how is having remote ID going to fix that? It's not. If things aren't being enforced properly, or this rule isn't working, let's add some more rules. That's not going to work. That's silly. That's bureaucrats come up with things like that. Before flying most drones or model aircrafts, this is the Daily Mail, remember, model aircrafts outdoors in the UK, users are expected to register the device. And now model aircraft is a device. Device is an interesting word, isn't it? It has sinister connotations. How can a 250-gram foam model of a Piper Cub be a device? Well, because the Daily Mail says so, I suppose. And one source, unnamed source, apparently, told the Telegraph, and we can't look at that because it's behind a paywall, the situation was like the Wild West. What do you mean they're all carrying six-shooters and riding horses? What's going? This is rubbish. Absolute rubbish. Anyway, the government is now hoping the aerial equivalent of an ANPR, that's automated number plate recognition system, will be added to drones. Why? Why? Where are all the bodies? There are no bodies. This is just unbelievable. Anyway, so this is what could be coming for you in the UK. Be aware. Be very aware. Now, while we're on the subject of remote ID, look at this. People are saying, the FAA says, remote ID is only, for identifying the drone and the operator. We're not going to have networks. We're not going to be, it's not wide scale, because the NPRM response said that people didn't want to have a network remote ID. But hang on a minute. The Federal Aviation Administration regulations, basically blah, blah, blah. But what's happening here is, there's a drone tracking, Hidden Level has created a drone tracking system, which will almost certainly be rolled out so that this local broadcast remote ID becomes network remote ID, in so much as the position of drones will be correlated and stored in a database. Here's what Hidden thing has to say. The Hidden Level AMS is a cloud-based scalable solution that utilizes local network passive RF drone detection sensors, much like a cellular network, that is owned, operated, and maintained by Hidden Level. So Hidden Level are going to be basically collecting all this data from remote ID. It'll know where all the drones are. It'll have a central database in the cloud, and I dare say that access to that database will be available for a fee to anyone who wants it. So yeah, the privacy of you flying a drone is completely destroyed by remote ID, and it's not a case of, as the FAA says, it's only going to be a mile or so in the local area. No, these networks, this is just one of them. These networks are being set up to correlate that data and network it back. Because here's another story. ANRA wins contract for broadcast remote ID demonstration. It says here, ANRA Technologies has said it has won a Federal Aviation Administration contract to demonstrate the ability to collect, aggregate, and retransmit broadcast remote ID messages. Key word there is aggregate. So they're collecting this data over a large area and they're going to rebroadcast it. If they're collecting it, they can whack it on a server somewhere, and suddenly we have that network remote ID that was basically, you know, that 60,000 plus people said, we don't want it. And the FAA said, we've listened to your things. Now they're going through the back door. They're going through the back door. Totally unacceptable. And also, this one, a lot of people sent me, you know, this incident. This happened a few years ago where a police drone hit a Cessna 172, which was on approach to an airport. A police drone, right? Now they're saying, oh, you know, recreational drones are going to bring down aircraft. No, police drones might. Recreational drones are unlikely. This wild, wild west seems to be basically the fault of police, not people with their Mavic Minis and their you know, Piper Cubs and their freestyle drones. We're not the problem. The problem is police who don't have a damn clue. And although they're operating within quite stringent rules, the rules don't seem to protect other airspace users. What protects other airspace users is common sense and a simple risk analysis, risk management, the things that the hobby has been doing for decades. We know how to do this. Police come along, get a training course, say they know everything, follow the rules which are made by people sitting behind desks who believe they know everything, and suddenly this sort of thing happens. But this is not isolated. As I say, I said police, this is a increasingly common event. This is the Canadian police flew their drone into a Cessna 172. But it was just a fluke, wasn't it? Accident. It can never happen again. Well, hang on a minute. RCMP drone was flying at wrong altitude when it collided with a helicopter. Another police drone hit, in this case, their own RCMP helicopter. And this was, you know, about 3 years ago now, 2020. This is, again, police flying, presumably within the rules, colliding with manned aircraft. And we're being blamed, you know, we're being told, remember that Daily Mail article, you know, it's a danger, it's the risk, it's terrorists, it's a Wild West. No, the only Wild West is the Wild West created by law enforcement officials who think that simply following some stupid rules, and some of them are stupid, following stupid rules and having a piece of paper that says, I'm a certified drone operator, makes them safe. It does not. They do not have the background, the knowledge, the understanding, the experience that the hobby has, yet they claim to be safe. And this is what we end up with. This is why regulators have got it wrong. It's the blind leading the sighted. It's the tea lady writing the neurosurgery manual for the hospital surgeons. It's all, let me say it, arse about face. The people who know the most are the people who are least consulted with. That's us. We know. We've been doing this for such a long time. But the regulators, no one's talking to us. They're telling us what we should be doing, even though they themselves clearly don't have a damn clue. Now, remember, this whole regulation thing is by consent. If we don't consent to follow the regulations, there's not enough enforcement to make sure it happens. And this is a video. I'm going to put a link to this in the description of this video. I put it on my community tab already. This guy really sums it up perfectly. He's not talking about drones. He's talking about a much bigger picture. And I don't agree with everything he says. He's a little bit over the top. And I think the problem is that we have media, government, we have police, all the regulators all going over the top in their direction. So perhaps sometimes you have to go over the top in the other direction to get your message across. But this video, it is 8 minutes. It's worth listening to. As I say, I don't agree with everything he says, but a lot of it makes damn good sense. So go and have a watch. It's really worth. I'm surprised it's only had 3,700 views. Oh, sorry, yeah, 3,700 views, because everybody should watch this video. You may not agree with it all, but the underlying basic principle, I think we can all agree with. And this shows our way forward in dealing with remote ID, in my honest opinion, that this is an unreasonable regulation. We have an obligation to say, I'm sorry, we're no longer going to comply with a regulation that serves no purpose and does nothing for safety. So go and have a look at it. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. It was a quick one because, as I say, people are emailing me again and again over the same things. I want you to know that I am in touch with what's going on. I do know about these things, so you should go out and check them out yourselves. I'll put links to relevant stuff in the description of the video. Thank you for watching. I'll be back soon. Bye for now.
Overregulation is like a tumor. It's killing our hobby. It must be terminated. Now!